Hello Ryan Cahir, this is our English for the day and we're going to be reading this poem here called We Want to Wear Our Wellies. So I'll read the poem for you before we start. We Want to Wear Our Wellies by Dave Ward. We want to wear our wellies when it's windy. We want to wear our wellies when it's wet. We want to wear our wellies when the weather on the telly says it's going to be the warmest day yet. We want to wear our wellies even though our feet get smelly. We want to wear our wellies because they're red. We want to wear our wellies when it's wet or warm or windy, but we never wear our wellies in bed. Okay, so as it says up here at the top, this is a pattern poem. The one we read last week was a pattern poem because each line in each verse had something in common. I want you to press pause now and try and reread this poem and see if you can figure out what the pattern in this poem is. Okay, so has anyone figured out any patterns in the poem? If we look at the first verse, so we have two verses in this poem, verse 1 and verse 2. What I've noticed in this poem is that the line, we want to wear our wellies, is repeated 1, 2, 3 times in this verse. And if we look in the second verse, it is 1, 2, 3 times. It's repeated 3 times in this verse as well. So that's a bit of a pattern. It has the exact same line repeated 3 times in verse 1 and 3 times in verse 2. If we look at the line, we want to wear our wellies is line 1, line 3 and line 5 in verse 1. And in verse 2, it is line 1, line 3 and line 5 again. So that's another pattern on the poem. Did anyone notice any other patterns? Another pattern I noticed is that it has some rhyming words in it. So if we look at wet and yet, so wet is in the last line, last word in the middle of the verse, and yet is the last word at the end. And then on verse 2, the middle line, the last word is red, and the last word is bed, and red and bed are rhyming words as well. So it's another pattern on the poem. What we're going to do today is we're going to make our own patterned poem, similar to this but a little bit different. So this is the template we're going to use, and the line that we're going to repeat is we want to wear our what. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a random pair of shoes and I am going to write it on the line. So I'm going to pick our ballet shoes. We want to wear our ballet shoes. Now this poem is going to be a nonsense poem, which means it doesn't really make sense. So I'm going to try and make it funny, make it not make sense. So we want to wear our ballet shoes on the, I need to think now, what kind of thing? Oh, on the bus. Bus isn't somewhere you normally wear ballet shoes. So we want to wear our ballet shoes on the bus. We want to wear our, now it's a pattern poem, so I need to have the same line. So I need to put ballet shoes on this space as well. We want to wear our ballet shoes in the jungle. The jungle's not a place where we wear ballet shoes, so that's another silly part to my poem. Now we want to wear our, it's a pattern poem, so I need to have the same kind of ballet shoes on it. We want to wear our ballet shoes on the, now because it's a pattern poem, I need to use what I've used before. So on the bus and in the jungle. On the bus and in the jungle. But we never wear our, again, the type of shoes. We never wear our ballet shoes in bed. We never wear our ballet shoes in bed. So this is my first verse of my patterned poem, and I have it's a pattern poem because I have used the same line, we want to wear our ballet shoes, 1, 2, 3 times. That's part of why mine is a pattern poem. And then my second line here, so on the bus, and my fourth line, in the jungle, I've repeated those 2 lines together down here, on the bus and in the jungle, but we never wear our ballet shoes in bed. So that's my first verse of my pattern poem. Like I said, it's a nonsense poem. It doesn't have to make sense. Sometimes they're better when they don't make sense. So what I want you to do now is you're going to write your own version of this pattern poem. This is my version. I want you to do yours now, and you have 2 verses to do. So I have half of mine done and I have half left to do. You can do this in your green books.